What's up again, everybody? If you missed it earlier, we did our giveaway stream, and at the end of the giveaway stream, the idea was popped around about making a combo breakdown video on the air, like live. So I went ahead and recorded it as I went, and now we're going to upload it as an actual combo breakdown video. So check this out. This was submitted by Jason Lucero, or is it Lucero? I always mess this up. This dude submits like teams all the time, team ideas, and every single one of them starts out like this. I wonder if that's actually worth. Sure. You know what? Maybe what if we tweak this and then tweak this, and then my mind just keeps going and going and going. The dude's a genius. He comes up with the coolest combos ever. And now I'm going to take another one of his combos and try to make it a little bit more interesting and more spicy and even better than what we got. So let's build a Jason combo. You ready? Here's what he gave me. He gave me this. If you look at Hope Summers, you know that like Hope Summers' pluripotent Ekpraxia has been played by like everybody and their poor mother's son, right? Everybody knows this card. Everybody either loves it or hates it. But there are still some things that I didn't know it could do. Like, for example, we all know it copies X-Men abilities, but there's a Deadpool that does this. Where is it? This one. Check out this Deadpool. When Deadpool attacks, if you have a die on a double energy face in your reserve pool, all opposing character dice must block. Now, it doesn't have to block like something specific. They just have to block, okay? It also, the nice thing about this is it has that cool little pay a fist global. So it's good for like blocking when blocking stuff. Okay, if you copied that ability on Hope Summers, it's essentially like playing this. Look, it's essentially like playing the Bloat Drone. Remember Bloat Drone, the fetid Bloat Drone? Deadly when fetid Bloat Drone attacks, all opposing character dice must block if able. Do you remember this card? Yeah, we made a video on it with none other than Mr. Tabasco Rogue himself. Okay, now it's like playing that, except it's too cheaper to buy a Hope Summers, and you can buy multiple Hope Summers and do like other crazy things alongside that. Now, what are the benefits to running the Bloat Drone? Well, if you only attack with the Bloat Drone, it gains it has deadly, and so it will KO everything that your opponent has. So that's a benefit that you don't have with this combo between Hope Summers and Deadpool. The other benefit that you have with Bloat Drone that you don't have with this card combo is that this is a 1-card combo, and this is a 2-card combo. Now, what are the benefits to running this? Well, it's cheaper, easier to get. You don't have to put as many pieces around this, technically, or sorry, Hope Summers, technically, compared to the Bloat Drone, because I think you do have to invest something when you're setting up for a 5-drop. But we are going to put some of the similar pieces around it. Now, you can win with this combo with Bobby Heenan, like the same way you would with Bloat Drone. Boop. Okay, Bobby Heenan, the Weasel, 2 cost. When fielded until the end of the turn for each die your opponent assigns to block, they lose 1 life, okay? And you are going to force your opponent to assign blockers because you're going to use Hope Summers to copy Deadpool. And when Hope Summers attacks, if you have a die on double energy face in your reserve, then all opposing character dice must block, right? So you're gonna force them to block, and then in forcing them to block, the requirement here will be met for them to lose life. Okay, you're not forcing them to lose life, you're forcing them to block, and therefore meeting the requirement of Bobby Heenan. Okay, so it's easy to buy 2-cost Bobby Heenans. It's easy to buy 3-cost Hope Summers, but you want to buy a lot of Bobby Heenans, and you want to have a way to guarantee this effect going off, because there's only one stipulation here, well, technically 2. When attacks, so your Hope Summers is going to have to attack, make it to the attack step. That's number 1, okay? Number 2, you have to have a die on a double energy face in your reserve pool. So in order to do that, the easiest way is to just run Clayface, right? If you run Clayface, Restless, you use the global to pay a mask. Once per turn, take a die from your used and add it to your reserve pool on any energy face. So what you're going to do is you're going to buy Bobby Heenans. You're going to hopefully field several of them, have one of them maybe in your used pile. You're going to pull it with a mask onto double mask. And then when you attack, you're going to have the ability to use the Deadpool effect, essentially, giving you the ability to just make your opponent lose massive amounts of life. Very easily, like this combo works very solid. Now, again, the question is, why are you running that versus the drone? And I think it's interesting that we're getting this all in this combo at a 3 cost rather than 5 cost. And we don't care if their stuff, actually, maybe it's better that their stuff doesn't all die because of deadly. Maybe it's better that they keep their stuff in the field versus having it all die because you attacked with your deadly creature, your deadly bloat drone. This way, you can do a couple of things with Hope Summers. One, you may not actually care about your Hope Summers living or not. You might just be okay with it KOing, because once you KO it, then it's okay for you to refield it and do something else special with it. So there's a couple of things we could do. We could have that Hope Summers target Iceman. I don't think that's probably what we are going to do, but you could have it target Iceman on the refields, and that's another way to win the game. Iceman's a really good win condition, but it does require pieces around it to actually win the game. You could refield it, and the one I think I kind of like is using Professor X. This is the one I'm stealing from Ben Saeed Scott. You may know him. I'm probably going to do this one to the astral plane. If you field Hope Summers and copy the text of Professor X, you are not only copying the ability text of Professor X, you're also copying the global ability on Professor X, which means you have the ability to pay a mask and prep 2 sidekicks, and also pay a mask and prep 2 sidekicks. Now your opponent does as well, but they may not be able to take as much advantage of it, make as much use out of it if they didn't prep for it previously. Of course, if they do have a mask character, they can by doing this, but actually they can't, because it doesn't matter. It's not on their turn, because this is only on your turn. So you actually have the ability to field a Hope Summers copying that after you've let Hope Summers get KO'd because all of your opponent's stuff had to block. So there's a way here to field and prep a bunch of dice, which is really, really good. And it's a mask character, which we plan to buy multiples of so that we can use the clay face effect. So that's an interesting copy effect. The other thing we might want to consider, and it's another mask global, is the Nihilor global. Plotting is fine. Actually, you might want to run Patient Aberration. Patient Aberration seems interesting too. So Nihilor Patient Aberration has the Nihilor global on it. Pay a mask once per turn. KO a character die you control. You could just KO your Hope Summers if you wanted to cycle it and field and copy something different. But more importantly, you're going to KO your Bobby Heenans on your opponent's turn so that you can field them again the next turn and keep the pressure up, which is really, really cool. Okay, because the goal that we're going to assume that we're trying to win with is copying the Deadpool and then pushing Heenan-Drone, Heenan Hope damage by having 2 masks in the reserve after pulling a Heenan out of the used. So this is a really cool little combo here. Now, how do we fill out the rest of the team? There's 6 cards down. Let's see, 3 of these cards we're never going to buy. Probably 4 if you count the Deadpool. So what are we going to do? I think I originally had... what did I have on here? Let me look. I actually have a team next to me. I had Static Field, but I actually don't know if I care about Static Field. I mean, if we're thinking like more meta things, Static Field makes a ton of sense to try and threaten the ability to push back like large attackers. So in that sense, we should probably put it on. The other thing that I had was Instant War. Instant War allows you to fill up your opponent's board with stuff, and because you don't have a deadly version of the bloat drone effect, you just have a normal version of it where they all have to block, their stuff is more likely than not going to sit there in their not attack zone, in their field zone, right? Which is pretty cool. So this makes a ton of sense versus on the bloat drone team where you're basically giving them ramp. Of course, dealing them damage, but also giving them ramp. Now, the bloat drone team always wanted to clear the board, make your opponent re-roll stuff. Hopefully they miss, and even if they don't miss, you're going to have to pay a bunch of energy to refield all the stuff that you cared about. But this is just trying to win straight up with burn damage. So maybe this is worth it, maybe this is not, I don't know, but it's on there. If we wanted to get it super cheap, we could always run Thor. The Thor Global allows you, where is it? Thor Global allows you to buy it for cheaper, so that could go on the team if you wanted. We'll put it on there just for now. But again, we're not buying anything this way, so I mean, it's you can consider it, or you could not. The other option that I had, and this one would require one card. Obviously, we could just run the Rachel combo, the Hope Rachel combo, which is just a wonderful way to win the game. Where is it? So everybody knows at this point the Hope copying the Rachel means that you can field 2 Hopes and KO 1 Hope, and then everything board wipes. I feel like that's a fine thing to put on the team because it's another way to just deal with your opponent's stuff. How do you play Dice Masters, says Icebringer in the chat. That's a great question. I have a video on that. You should check it out. Go to my YouTube channel here and then dig for the How to Play Dice Masters video. I feel like it's a good, quick version of how to play the game. There's some great resources out there in the game community, some great videos and other things that people have produced. After you watch that video that I recommend, How to Play Dice Masters, on my DM Armada channel, I would go check out Dice Masters United, DM United. It's a great website. They got some good stuff on there too. So then we're down to 1 card. Probably like another win condition, honestly, because this is our main win condition that we want to go for. Probably like another one. There's always the, oh, what is it called? Jubilee. There's always the Jubilee. And I actually think maybe this 3-cost Jubilee, because it's a win fielded effect, and it might be good for that. But there's not like really the bolt support. Is there like a... This is where I'm kind of going to go off script, because I had another team, but I've already made some changes to it, so I don't care that much. Is there an X-Man that is also a mask, that is also modern, that is also good? Danny Moonstar, actually. This makes a ton of sense, actually. I think we're doing that. So Danny Moonstar, when she's blocked, reroll a blocking character dice. So this is actually a wonderful card. I don't know why I didn't think about this. Not only is this a good card, you're basically forcing them to either take 2 or block, and you're already planning to force them to block. And Hope Summers can copy that ability, so you can just have a bunch of Danny Moonstars. This makes a ton of sense. I like this. So this is just a new way to play around with Hope Summers and sort of a Bloat Drone-esque team. It's kind of crazy to think, but like you could actually do this where you copy the effect on Deadpool with Hope Summers, and then you clayface in like a Bobby Heenan on 2 masks or a Danny Moonstar on 2 masks to meet the requirement here when she attacks, so that you force everybody's or I guess your opponent's stuff to attack or to block. And once you force them to block, if you've played Bobby Heenan's, they will lose life based on that. And then you don't really care what happens to your Hope. Maybe you want to use the 2 masks that you've fixed into the field to Nihilor Global your Bobby Heenan's, or maybe you really feel like you need the board presence, so you static field back some attackers or some blockers, like you pull back the Hope, or you push back something really big that you want to keep in your opponent's field. You can invest in instant wars so that you can fill up their field faster and try to kill them quicker. And if worst comes to worst, you can always just sit back on the Hope Rachel Summers kind of combo so that your opponent is afraid of fielding stuff. It's a super interesting way to take an already existing idea in the Heenan-Bloat Drone team and turn it on its head. And this is all from Jason L. And that's pretty cool. He gave me this combo, Hope Summers and Deadpool. And I thought, wow, that's like bonkers. That's super cool. That's a really cool way to try and win the game. So kudos to him. He's also got another combo that he sent me that I'll make another video about in a couple of days. But let me know what you think about this one in a comment below. And as always, thanks for watching.